And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, Tom Vasel here, and today we're taking a look at a game called Settlement, which is not that exciting of a name for a game, but it is a pretty cool cover here because it shows a settlement, but it's also the face of a king. In this game, you're building a settlement with monsters, and you're building a little tavern and sending your workers out to build, not a tavern, but it's a little town that could have a tavern in it, and then send out people to go out and fight monsters, and it sounds very cool and fantasy, but it's not really that thematic. I want to get that clear now. You are putting tiles in front of you to build a little town and using workers to activate rows in terrain that you discover and the town that you build. Using different resources to attract heroes to your town. I guess you're giving them things as beautiful gifts for them to come join you, which give you points. Does that sound a little confusing? I don't mean it to. Let's take a look at the game and we'll come back. So here's what you can do with your people. One of the things you can do is you can build a new building. When you do that, you're simply going to pick one of the 9 available buildings. These are refilled. Each one has a cost in the top corner. And there's different resources. There's the basic resources of wood and clay and stone. And then there's advanced upgraded resources of gems and gold. And when you buy the building, you're simply going to put it in one of the spots down here. Now you're doing that because another place you can place your workers is in one of these rows. And when you go there, you activate every building in that row. I can change a basic resource to gold. I can change a gold to 5 points, and I just put the gold on the tile to remember that for the end of the game. And I can change a diamond here into all 3 basic resources. So you can only use each of these rows once per round, but you can build as many buildings as you want. You can also place workers here. You're going to place 1, 2, or 3 to explore up in the wilderness. When you explore, the first one you have to explore will be a level 1, which is drawn from the level 1 stack, and you'll flip it over. After that, you can go over and explore another level 1, or you can move up and explore level 2. Whenever you turn one of these over, it will show a color monster that's going to be yellow, green, red, or blue. You are going to look at the hero cards that are down here, and if that monster shows up there, so here I turned over a yellow, so indeed, I then will place a yellow monster on that tile. Now, that's important because I can't collect from this until I defeat that monster. To defeat that monster, I'll put a certain number of workers up here. So it takes 2 to defeat the yellow monster. And then I defeat it, it's gone, and I get the reward. In this case, defeating a yellow monster gives me a gold. You can go here to get all the things that are listed to get these. So this gives me a stone, this gives me a clay in a row. But every time you do that, you also have to check for monsters because they can pop up again. Again, you're going to look at the heroes that are down here. You can also go here to build a fortification. When you build a fortification, that does 2 things. One, it keeps monsters from popping up on these tiles, but also you can now place someone directly on that fortification to get that resource. At the end of your turn, you can also turn in these resources to get one of these heroes. You're, I guess, buying them off. Sometimes it gives you a special thing, like this gives you an extra white worker to use in a following round. If you buy the last 2, they have an extra cost of diamonds. And then, like I said, they're all going to be worth various points at the end of the game. So 7 points, 1 point for every building, 1 point for every terrain that you've put out on your adventures. And then there's one more thing here. There's artifacts. And there's a lot of artifacts in this game. You're going to put out 3 more than the number of players. So in this case, we're saying it's a 3-player game, so there's 6 of them here. And players will be taking these each round, and you'll put it right there on your board. And this one just gives me a diamond. Great. This one here says when I fight, I get a diamond. So you can pick which of these you're going to take, and at the end of every round, you're going to be giving yours up and taking a different one. So they're going to kind of cycle through as you take these. And then, so each game's going to feel different because the numbers that are out there are going to look different from round to round, or from game to game. And after 6 rounds, you're just going to count up your points that you've gotten from using your buildings, like I said, and from collecting heroes. Most points is the winner. As you can see, there's a lot of pieces here. The resources are fine, although it's really weird that the clay is a teardrop. I don't know. It's easy to tell the difference, but we just kept forgetting what it was called. We're like, the blood tear or whatever. Another thing that, this may be just me, but there's gold coins and diamonds. Diamonds are not as good as coins. In fact, you have free exchanges you can do every turn. So you can turn in any 2 resources for another resource. one of each basic resource for a diamond, 2 of the gems for a coin, or a coin for a basic resource. But it just seems, and maybe this again is my mind, but everyone I play with had the same thing. It seemed like gems would be more valuable than the coins. Again, not a big deal, but that just seemed odd. Also, you notice there's a ton of monsters. Look how many there are. You'll never see all those on the board, but it works. I mean, again, it's better than them giving too few. All the different heroes in the game. I do like the art on this. They look cool as you see all these different people. Thematic wise, this isn't really that big of a deal. You know, when I get these people, I get her. She doesn't give me any magic. She just gives me 9 points. But the card quality is well done, and the game's going to take up a decent amount of space. This is 1 player board that could be out of 5, and then the main board that's going to be out there. But the pieces work well for the most part. I like Settlement, and I want to say that because I'm going to say a few negative things about it. So, as I said at the beginning, the theme is kind of, oh, it's there, I suppose, whatever. You don't notice it. The monsters are there, but in the rule book, they're like, these monsters come and steal your stuff. They're just monsters. They're just tokens that annoy you and get in your way, and you clear them out. And in fact, it's kind of a weird thing because you can put those settlements up to stop monsters from coming in, but sometimes you want monsters to come in because you can beat them and get those really good resources that you can use on other things. But be that as it may, so this game is an interesting, almost engine builder. It has that idea that you get that artifact that you can use each round and it switches in and out, which is very similar to a popular game called Res Arcana. Does the same thing. I like that concept, and I think some of them seem better than others, but if you have it one round, you won't have it the next round. I like that you have 6 workers that you put out, but you can get temporary workers and use them. And I also like that you activate a row of stuff that's there. Now, activating the row isn't nearly as exciting as it sounds. First of all, you got to get 3 buildings out there. And then those buildings, I mean, you can sometimes go, I'll do this to do this, and that's all cool. But it might take you a couple turns to get that done, and then you only run it 1 or 2 times. And that, I think, is the biggest flaw of the game, is that it has these cool, hey, I build rows out, and then I can activate them. But it's not nearly as exciting as it sounds. That doesn't mean the game is bad. You still get to put this terrain out. You still get to activate the stuff. But the combos, and there's not that many different ways to get points either. There's a few buildings that let you change gold and gems into points, and then there's the rest of the points are from just collecting resources and hiring the people. So I think some people are going to be a little bored by the game. I think it's a lighter game than it looks. It looks like there's a lot going on in this game and big, grandiose, discovering stuff. But it's just a light, fun, collect stuff, turn it in, which is the same as any other game. You know, this could have been a trading in a Mediterranean or building a castle somewhere. The theme isn't much there at all. Now, despite all that, I like the concept. I like sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my workers. Am I going to grab buildings? Am I going to go out and explore? You can't do everything, but you can do a lot over the course of the game. And that artifact I take, which one will I take? That's a good decision. And for someone who maybe wants to play engine building games, this is almost a gateway to playing those. And I hesitate to call this light, but it's lighter than you might think. So all that coming together, it plays around the table pretty quickly because I take an action, you take an action, we just go around, and the main thing is you might buy a building that I want. There's not a ton of interaction. The monster cards, those hero cards, as soon as someone buys one, new ones are coming out, so that's going to change. Does a monster pop up or not? But you don't have an overwhelming number of choices. There's only so many buildings. You go, that's the one I want. When you go to terrain, you take the top one from the deck. You can decide if I'm going to protect the terrain or fight the monsters. They're very, very direct things. This person needs 2 brick, a gold, and a gem to bring them in. Then that's what I go collect. And that's good. Sometimes games need that on-the-rails experience, and I think this one works well for that. I played this with hardcore gamers, and they were kind of like, it's okay. I played it with people who were not so much, and they enjoyed it much more, and that's kind of where I'm on. I have to take a look at what the game's kind of trying to be, and it works well in that situation. So I like it. I don't think it's an amazing game, but it is fun and it's worth playing, or at least worth trying out to see if you like it. That's Settlement. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved.